So, transitioning to the NFL, obviously a lot of talk has revolved around Aaron Rodgers. He's kind of consumed all the headlines this offseason. Insert Julio Jones now. Julio Jones, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. And it was reported a couple months ago that he wanted out of Atlanta, but it really became prominent and at the forefront when he kind of leaked that on Undisputed a couple days ago. So let me first say this. The Patriots and the Titans have emerged kind of as the realistic spots, realistic teams that would trade for him. There are obviously others that are in contention as well. Let me first address this head on. As it strictly pertains, not even football fit, as it strictly pertains to the optics and the admiration and the recruiting that the teams are employing and exemplifying towards Julio Jones. The edge by far in their public recruitment and their outward recruitment of Julio Jones, the edge clearly goes to the Tennessee Titans. You have A.J. Brown reaching out to him on Instagram Live saying, come on over and vibe, bro. I'll let you carry the load. You've got him working out with Derrick Henry in the offseason. So they're doing their part to convince Julio Jones to come. I give all the credit to the Tennessee Titans. They are making that pitch to him. And when I think about Julio Jones and his value, right? Obviously, 32 years of age. We get it. He missed some games last year. This is a 7-time Pro Bowler, a 2-time first team All Pro for 6 straight seasons, 2014 to 2019. This is a guy who caught at least 80 passes and over 1,300 yards, 6 consecutive seasons, was on pace to do that this past season. Only played 9 games. He missed 7 games, and yet still caught 51 catches for over 777 and 71 yards, 3 touchdowns. And this is a guy who could be available. He still has 3 years remaining on his contract. And for his career, he's averaging 95 and a half yards per game, which is by far the most in NFL history. So if he's truly adamant and he's truly set and his heart's truly set on leaving the Atlanta Falcons, which he obviously revealed that it is, then if the choice is really between the Tennessee Titans and the Patriots, as far as which is the best fit for him, if I'm Julio Jones, I'd much rather go to the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, it's a much more offensive schemed place, offensive minded place. I'd much rather play for Coach Vrabel, that coaching staff, A.J. Brown, Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry. You're going to be featured a lot more in Tennessee. But the team that should go get him and would legitimately be Super Bowl contenders with him is the New England Patriots. I've said this before. I think that the New England Patriots are going to have the biggest bounce back season in the NFL this year. They will be the biggest. They will rebound the biggest more than any team. This is a team that went 7-9 last year. I predict that they will go 11-6 this year. And you think about their offseason additions. Jonnu Smith from the Titans, Hunter Henry, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne. That's just on the offensive side. On the defensive side, their defense will be elite once again. It was mediocre last year, but now you have Dante Hightower opting back in, Patrick Chung opting back in. You sign Matthew Judon. You sign Jalen Mills. You still have Stephon Gilmore. This defense, under the defensive scheme and tutelage of Bill Belichick, will be fantastic. And now you could potentially provide Cam Newton another option and weapon on the outside with Julio Jones. That is a much better spot. Now, again, if I'm Julio Jones, do you want to go to sunny, fun, country music, offensive-minded Tennessee, or go to rigid and regimented New England? Obviously, you'd rather go to Tennessee. But honestly, if you're Julio Jones and your priority is winning, Tennessee Titans, what's their biggest issue? Defense. they're still going to have the same struggles on defense. And really, what you're just going to be going to is going to another Atlanta Falcons. Good offense, no defense. Patriots have an elite defense, elite coaching staff. Their offense will be explosive. So if I'm Julio Jones, that's what I would do. And if I'm the New England Patriots, I would pounce on this and try and sign Julio Jones. Now, I do think, as I mentioned, there's some other teams along with the Patriots and the Titans that their names have come up in the Julio Jones sweepstakes. You got the Ravens and the Rams and the Colts and the Chargers. But to me, another kind of dark horse team that should consider making a move for him is the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, listen, I've said this before. I am huge on Justin Fields. I'm a huge believer, a big believer in Justin Fields. And I think that Matt Nagy will do the creative offensive mind that he is, will do a number with Justin Fields, Julio Jones. You pair him with Allen Robinson. Now you've got a legitimate 1-2 punch on the outside. And this defense is a top 5 talent on defense. And now they will actually be able to play inspired and meaningful defense. That's been the problem, is they've been so depressed every time Foles or Trubisky or it could have been Andy Dalton steps out onto the field. They play hard for the first 3 games of the year, and then they concede to the fact that their offense is going to stink. So they resort back to the means. And they kind of depreciate on defense. But from a talent perspective, this defense is elite. And you add Julio Jones on the offensive side, they will play inspired. I already had the Bears potentially being a wild card team. And so you combine the fact that I already thought they could make the wild card this year as is, and with the uncertainty surrounding Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay and that situation, the fallout could result in the Chicago Bears being the best team in the NFC North in that division. So if I'm Julio Jones, that's something that I'm considering.